Hi everyone, this is Andy here from Saving to Invest, and today I'm going to talk about when you can file your tax returns in 2023 and what you can expect with your IRS refund processing. I'll be looking at three topics today. The first is when you can file your 2022 taxes in 2023. This includes when the IRS accepts tax returns for processing, deadlines for filing, and other key dates during the tax season. I'll then provide a quick recap of how the IRS processes refunds and expected timelines, which will then allow me to cover the estimated IRS refund schedule for the tax season. This is based on past tax seasons and potential delays we may see again this year. And this should hopefully give you an idea of when you can expect your refund payment. As always, if you like what you see here, please hit the like button and keep subscribing to get more videos like this. The key dates for the 2023 tax season. Some of these dates may change based on last-minute IRS updates, and I'll post a link to the latest table, which also has a lot more details and key dates in the video description section below. The IRS tax season will technically open on January 3rd, first working day of the year. However, this is just the day that the tax season opens, and not when the IRS starts accepting filings, electronic or paper-based. In fact, the actual date the IRS will start accepting returns is probably going to be around January 23rd. The official IRS processing date may change plus or minus a few days based on any last-minute IRS system updates, but this is normally around the time when the IRS will start accepting e-filed returns through online tax providers. Any paper-based returns will likely be processed a few weeks or days later as they're uploaded into the IRS system, which is why I definitely recommend e-filing as the most error-free and fastest way to get your tax refund. However, it won't be until the end of January or February 1st when most people will have all their key tax forms like W-2s and 1099s from their employers, banks, financial institutions, or other third-party payment processors. In fact, most taxpayers will need to wait until after February to really file their tax return because they will need a lot of the information provided in these forms. The next key date is going to be around mid-February. This is generally when the PATH Act restriction lifts. This restriction is a legal requirement that prevents the IRS from sending out refund payments for those taxpayers claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Additional Child Tax Credit. Even if your refund is processed and refund was approved, it will not be paid until after this date. It generally takes until the end of February for PATH delayed refund payments to be sent out, which unfortunately causes a lot of consternation for impacted early tax filers and could mean an extended delay in getting their tax refund. I have a whole video and article on the PATH Act, which I will post links to in the description below. April 18th is tax day, or basically the last regular day to file a federal and state income tax return or submit a request for a filing extension. However, even if you file an extension and you owe taxes, you must still pay it or an estimated amount by this date to avoid penalties and interest for any overdue amounts. April 18th is also going to be the last day of the year that you can make qualified contributions to retirement accounts like IRAs or health saving accounts for the 2022 calendar year. These are tax advantaged accounts that allow you to lower your taxable income. So if you can, I definitely recommend contributing to these to potentially even get a larger refund. The one exception to the April 18th filing date is for US citizens or residents living abroad who get an automatic 2-month extension to file their taxes by June 15th. This date again is just a filing extension, and any actual or estimated taxes due must be paid by April 18th. The last date I'll mention here is October 18th. This is when all filings are due for approved extensions. Remember that an extension to file is not an extension to pay, so make sure you've paid any overdue taxes to avoid penalties and interest. And the official tax season ends in November, but current and prior returns, including amended returns, will continue to be processed with refunds paid where applicable. Before I talk about the estimated IRS refund schedule and when you could see your refund payment, I wanted to quickly touch on how the IRS will process your tax return and how long refund payments will take to be made if everything goes according to their standard schedule. There are basically three steps that you need to be aware of, which is how your refund status is reflected in the IRS's Where is My Refund website or the IRS To Go mobile app. The first processing stage is when you submit your tax return. If submitted electronically via an online tax software package like TurboTax, the return will be directly uploaded to the IRS systems. After initial processing and checks, you should then be able to see the status of your return as received on the IRS tools within 24 to 48 hours. Paper returns could take up to 2 weeks to show up as received by the IRS because they have to be manually loaded. The next main stage is where the bulk of the IRS processing takes place to reconcile your return with the information that the IRS has received from other sources and to validate your refund payment. This can take anywhere from 2 to 5 days after submission. If the refund is approved by the IRS system and there's nothing that raises red flags or requires additional reviews, the refund is approved and the status on the WMR tool will change to refund approved. Depending on which IRS processing cycle you're in, your refund will be sent to your bank account via direct deposit within a day or two or via paper check in a week. The IRS says that 9 out of 10 returns, or 90% of tax returns, should be processed in this manner within 21 days. And based on past tax seasons, a lot of folks do get their refunds sooner than 21 days. But many millions also get it much, much later if their return is flagged or if their return is held up due to various other reasons like the PATH Act, IRS processing delays, security and fraud checks, etc. Now that you understand the general process the IRS follows, I'll talk about some of the estimated dates for when you could actually see your refund payment after filing your tax return. Now that you know when you can file your tax return and you understand how the IRS processing works, I'm going to talk about when taxpayers could expect to see refund payments in 2023. The tax refund schedule shown here is based on past year schedules and IRS processing guidelines. It is organized into three columns driven by when your tax filing is successfully received by the IRS, which then drives the dates for when the refund is approved and eventually sent to you via direct deposit or a prepaid debit card. You can see here that in the first column, it shows the Friday week ending date for when the return is received. So it could be received any days leading up to that Friday week ending date. Generally, if the return is received during that week, it will be paid and processed by the following week if no issues are found as shown in the second column of the table. The actual payment or deposit to your account is sent a few days after the refund is approved, and the status will show as refund sent in the WMR tool. Mail checks could take 1 to 2 weeks longer than the direct deposit payment date. You can see an example here where a return was received by the IRS during the week ending March 3rd. If the filing is validated and all goes to schedule, the refund status will change to refund approved the following week by March 10th. Exact dates will depend on your specific IRS processing cycle, which I've covered in a separate video for which I'll post a link here and in the description below. So if no issues are found with your direct deposit or payment information, you should then see your refund for a return that was filed by March 3rd and accepted by the IRS, you should see it by March 14th. Again, these are just indicative dates to help you figure out when you could get your refund payment. The IRS will provide specific date ranges in their systems and tax transcripts once your refund status is updated to sent. If your return is held up by the PATH Act, you will not see a refund date until late February at the earliest. The delays could also be much longer if additional checks or manual reviews are needed by the IRS. In fact, your WMR status, Where's My Refund tool, or the IRS, may sit at return received for quite a while until the refund is approved and paid. In these cases, I definitely recommend calling the IRS and reviewing your detailed tax transcript to see what additional processing is happening. You'll probably also get IRS notices, which you should definitely pay attention to. Finally, this is the refund processing schedule for normal tax returns. Amended returns have a different schedule, which I've discussed in some earlier videos. I'll post a link to the full year refund table in the video description section below, and you can also go to savingtoinvest.com/refund if you want to see the full year refund cycle and refund table. As always, if this information was useful to you, please hit the like button, and you can also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this during tax season. Thanks.